I'm Lee Blickstein, and I founded Speaking Circles International 30 years ago to heal public speaking anxiety by putting attention on, rather than on the speaking, rather onto the available listening. And you can do it in 6 languages around the world now for the last 30 years. But with this new social distancing, we had to find a way to do this on a virtual platform and have created quite an innovative way to have eye contact. And we're going to do a 30-minute mini circle. I call it a mini maxi circle with some folks who love this work. We have Jean Catherine Carlson in San Francisco area. We have Nikki Mott in New Mexico, and Jessica Breitenfeld in Toronto. We're going to have 3 turns, a 1-minute turn, a 4-minute turn with appreciations, and a 30-second, 45-second closing. And before we start, we've started, but before the words start flowing, we're going to take some breaths. And I'm looking at the camera, so hopefully, we're all looking at the camera. Hopefully you have the experience of being seen by us, or feeling seen by us as I speak to you. And we go into a stillness place. And if you're willing to take a few breaths into maybe a meditative place in your belly where there is a sense of stillness, perhaps some relaxation. And then gently opening your eyes and seeing me on the screen with my eyes in the camera. And each of our participants is going to have a minute to speak from this stillness, this shared stillness place. And in this first minute, because many of you watching this have had no experience in this modality, they're going to be reflecting on what brings them to this. What are they getting from this? Why do they love this work? So when I do this, it means 15 seconds more or less to finish the turn. So Jean Catherine, checking in on the screen into my eyes, and you could all be watching my eyes out there, or watching Jean Catherine, even though she's not looking at you, starting now.
There's nothing as delicious as being in stillness together. And I'm definitely a fan of being together in live speaking circles. And I love being together with people who are really vested in connecting, because connection is really what I'm all about. Connection is what brings me alive. So having an opportunity to be still and connected, even for a minute, makes my heart come alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean Catherine.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
Jessica, checking in to my eyes on the screen, starting with a breath, starting now.
Thinking about connection, I think, what else is there? I don't know if I actually would list the other things I could do with my time. It would be not connecting. Like, why on earth would I want to do that? Like, watch a movie for an hour and a half by myself? Yeah, I could pretend that I'm connecting to the movie characters, but talking to someone or playing with someone or even chatting with someone or connecting with myself, like, that just seems so much more fun. And then I hear some of my clients say that they don't want to be in stillness because it hurts and it brings up sadness. And then I think, I know why Netflix exists.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Nikki, starting with the breath, starting now.
We have this wonderful opportunity on Monday mornings. A group of us have made a habit of getting together and starting our week with a Zoom circle. We come from all over the US. Yeah, we come from both coasts. We connect. We talk about our mornings, our days, and that has made such a big difference in this time of being cloistered. And I hope that it will become a habit that will continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
So what I meant to say about how this work has shifted since we've gone onto the virtual platform is that even though it started as public speaking anxiety healing, it's really become just a place to express into really good listening what wants to come through. It's no longer about public speaking. It's about listening and being available to ourselves and to others for short periods of time. And the next short period of time is 4 minutes. And in this way, in this 4-minute turn, you're going to start, each person is going to start by looking at me on the screen and at some point calling another name, and they're going to look into the screen. So in this turn, you will always be with a person on the screen. And you out there watching, you can notice that when a name is called, how the connection is made. The person moves into the camera. You can feel that there's the connection. And then 15 seconds more or less, I will raise my finger. So, Jean Catherine, 4-minute turn, starting with a breath, starting with me.
I am curious about connection and hearing about like what else is there. What comes to mind is there's fake connection. How I never in my life would have consciously chosen fake connection, but unconsciously I do. And Jessica, it's astounding to me that how much of my life I have protected myself against true connection. Why would I? And Nikki, I get curious about that because I see the truth that anything, whatever anybody wants is in the world is so that they'll feel better. And so if I have a fear of connecting, and Lee, if I have this fear of getting hurt in connecting, I will create all kinds of ways to pretend I'm connected, but not really be truly, deeply connected. And Jessica, in this space, in this virtual space, I've noticed that there is something different in me that is ready is willing to be open, willing to connect in a deeper, more vulnerable, more intimate way than in actual gatherings. Lee, it was fascinating to me the other day. There's a collective, a healing collective I'm a part of. And when we've gotten together live before all this nonsense in the world, I always felt like I didn't belong. Like nobody saw me. I was just the old lady in this group of younger kids, younger ones, the healers, they're the ones that are cool. They're actually probably born in California. I was born in the Midwest. So like, I'm just not all that. And I know it was all me. And at the same time, it felt so real. And Nikki, the other night, we got together on Zoom. First time several of us from the collective have gotten together on Zoom. And the first thing that was said from one of this astrologer that I've esteemed as so much better than me says, "I'm really loving your Facebook Lives." And Jessica, what this did for me is it completely trashed my supposition that I'm not that. I am that. So there's something about Lee, about the physicality, about being released from having to try to look any particular way and trusting my skills on Zoom and feeling confident in who I am virtually. I'm going to be real curious to see how that translates into waking life when I'm back in person. It'll be cool. I'll be cool. I am cool. Thank you. Thank
Thank you, Jean Catherine.
Thank you, Jean Catherine.
you.
So what we do now is called essence appreciation. I start a word or two about a quality of presence I appreciated, and Jean Catherine repeats it. Tender vulnerability.
Tender vulnerability. Thank you, Lee. Nikki.
Whimsical, truthful insight.
Whimsical, truthful insight. Thank you. Jessica.
Cool spontaneity.
What was that?
Cool spontaneity.
Of course I wouldn't hear that. Cool spontaneity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jean Catherine.
Thank you, Jean
Thank you,
Catherine.
Jean Catherine.
Oh. Jessica, starting with me, 4 minutes, starting with the breath starting now.
Sometimes I can't stop myself from smiling when someone's speaking. And then I know it's like it's real human emotion. When you're at church and you want to giggle and you're not allowed to because God apparently doesn't like giggling. What a funny thing that kids learn. And yet you can't help it. It's like that moment right now. I feel like I want to smile, and maybe I want to talk about something sad in a couple of seconds. And if something sad comes up, I will let it come up. It's coming up. Nikki? Rejection, this rejection of how I'm feeling and if I'm cool or not. I've never been cool. Maybe I was cool. That's interesting. Jean Catherine, as I said it, I just realized, of course I was so cool by Western standards of popularity and image and wealth and perhaps confidence. I definitely was cool. I played the role of cool. And I think I believed it too. I thought because I have A, B, C, D, E, I am cool because this is what America tells me is success. Lee? And they forget to tell you in Hollywood that even if you have A, B, C, D, how many letters? A, B, C, D, E, F. I don't even know how to count the alphabet. I don't know how I could ever think I was successful or cool. But that doesn't matter, Nikki. They taught us that confidence is the most important thing. Fake it till you make it. I think that should be America's slogan under the Statue of Liberty, right? We're not free in America. Jean? I've lived in Europe for 5 years now, and I've lived in 8 other countries that aren't North America. And the world is different. My God, in Spain, where I live, they don't call people losers and winners as I grew up calling people. If you do this in Spain, I don't even know what they would think, you know? L is for loser, and my whole high school, we called people losers. We called ourselves losers. You have winners in life and you have losers in life. It's like, I grew up thinking there's black or white, Lee. And in Spain, there is a whole gray area. And the kids that I teach there, they don't bully like we bullied. I keep asking them, I say, does the smart kid get bullied? Kind of looking for a little bit of gossip, or like that bully in me wants to hear it. And they kind of look at me and say, why would the smart person get bullied? And I'm like, because they're a loser, because they're not cool, because they have glasses, because they wear tights and long shirts when that's not in. What? You have to make fun of other people. How else will you feel good? Nikki? I don't say that, of course. But my soul screams that, because I'm that little 12-year-old that's like, if we're not all winners, if we're not all losers, what are we? Jean? And my Spanish friends now, they would say, we're humans. Sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down. And sometimes the economy is good and sometimes the economy is down. And they don't have time. They don't have time for the games that we play. Yeah.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Jessica, luminous and illuminating.
Oh, luminous and illuminating. Thank you, Lee. Jean Catherine?
Refreshing, bold leadership.
Refreshing, bold leadership. Nikki?
Heartwarming and encouraging.
Heartwarming and encouraging.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Nikki, 4 minutes starting with me, and a breath starting now.
Love those breaths and settling into those breaths. And Jean Catherine, I also have come to love having people look at me, Lee, to pay attention. If I say someone's name, Jessica, all of a sudden I'm nourished by having their full attention. And Jean Catherine, knowing that you're listening, even though, Lee, when we do this, we come with absolutely no agenda. We have no idea, Jessica, what we're going to say, what we're going to think, what we're going to do. Jean Catherine, which is so freeing. But we know, Lee, that this little circle, this little now, this little reality is us. And when we do the speaking circles, Jean Catherine, back in the olden days when we were able to actually get together live and in person, we had to have, because it will come back, we have an expression, Jessica, that is the soft gaze. And Lee, I believe it's the soft gaze of acceptance. So I'm taking in another inspirational breath. And then that leads me to kind of wonder, Jessica, inspire. When we breathe in, we inspire. Does that mean, Lee, that we get inspired by this breathing that we do together? Perhaps we do, Jean Catherine. Perhaps we get inspired to have deep thoughts. Or perhaps, Jessica, we just get inspired to feel accepted, to feel like we belong, we are authentic, and we are connected. All of us, no matter where we are in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
Easy going in the not knowing.
Easy going in the not knowing. Thank you, Lee. Jean Catherine.
Beautiful, gracious flow.
Beautiful, gracious flow. Thank you, Jean Catherine. Jessica.
Connection and clairvoyance, clarity.
Connection and clarity. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Nikki. Oh, great. We have time for a closing. And I'd like you to do the closing into the camera, perhaps speaking to our viewers. Maybe there's something you want to say to the world. So closing, starting with Jean Catherine, starting with a breath.
Breathe. Breathe and be. Breathe and dream of a way of being on the inside that reflects the peace and well-being that we want on the outside. I believe with all my heart that this is well, first of all, I believe that joy, peace, well-being are inside out jobs. And that whatever I attract into my life is a reflection of what's going on inside me. I invite you to play with that and then keep coming back to breathe and be and let it be. And come out into the world with a new wardrobe of thoughts, because we need a new wardrobe of healthy, well-being thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean Catherine.
Thank you, Jean Catherine.
Closing into the camera with Jessica.
I love staring at myself. I used to, when my parents, when I was 18, said, we're going to remodel your room. and we're going to put a huge mirror in the wall. And I said, oh my God, I won't graduate high school if there's a mirror of me in my room. I love looking at myself, and I don't know how, when people say, oh yeah, I think about other people so much and I can't say no to other people. I think, are you, what? You have a totally different brain than I do, because I have my generous side and my compassionate side, but there is definitely I want to have fun. I want the last piece of cake. I want to laugh. I want to have sex. I want. And is it just because I'm a narcissistic, individualistic North American, or am I a human who's willing to admit it?
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Into the camera, Nikki, closing.
Be authentic. Don't be afraid to be authentic. Connect non-judgmentally. We are all in this together. Somehow we form together in small groups, in large groups, and something calls us that says, I want to be here. I want to be doing this. And if we can do it all and not judge each other and just feel nourished by the connection and the things we share. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Jean Catherine. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Nikki. And thank you for watching us. And we'd like to invite you to join us in our conventional ritual closing, which is a group hug. Come on. Yeah, group hug. We say kiss is optional, you know. Come on. You know you want it. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.